All right, everybody, welcome to the Sunday show. And listen, it's the third international break now, and as a club fans, it's a little bit difficult to get some momentum and cohesion. But pull up a chair here. You're all welcome. And Doug, I've been talking to you for a little while on mainstream. The usual things, right? Uh, I've always found you to be commonsensical and one of those normal supporters. So I think that it's important to call that out. You've always been fair. A little bit of a tinge of we all have our old club. We represent our clubs. You know what I mean? But as fair as you can be, Doug. And I've always wanted to collaborate with you. So thankful I have the opportunity today to do a podcast with you today, Doug. Welcome.
No, it's great. It's great to be on, Ray. And yeah, I've been a big fan of this channel for a long time. So it's good to finally get on, and it's good to be collabing. Hope you're well. I know obviously I won't mention a certain result today, but no, thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, listen. Last year, exactly a year ago, I did a similar podcast with Jack and Spider, and last year things were slightly different. We Liverpool and Arsenal were chasing a Manchester City team that were slightly ahead. So last year, I think City were on. Let me see, 20. I think City were on 28 points last year, and Arsenal and Liverpool were on 27 points. So it was still close after about 12 games in this international break periods. But now, Doug, Liverpool are the team who have sprung out in front of everybody, and it's City and Arsenal chasing Liverpool now.
Yeah. First of all, I think if you'd asked any sane Liverpool supporter like myself, the target of the season I think was third place in Champions League. I mean, to be top of the Champions League is very good, and now to be top of the Premier League and be 5 points clear at this stage. Look, I keep saying it. It doesn't mean anything at this stage in the season. But what I think we have done is we've been very consistent. We've only lost one game. That was obviously Nottingham Forest, and obviously we drew with you guys. We should probably have two losses because I do think that the decision in that Arsenal Liverpool game, the Havertz disallowed goal, I think you'd probably say was very harsh. But no, look, it's been a very good start, and I think the good thing about this as well, we've been taking advantage when like City haven't, because usually when you look at last season, and usually when we were being in title races with City, whenever they drop points, we seem to go in and drop points. So it's it's been nice to sort of differentiate of us to take advantage of City's slip ups so far. And look, you guys 9 points behind at the moment. Again, doesn't really mean anything. And I mean, anything can happen as well with the busy festive schedule coming up as well. So
Yep.
no, look, very happy to be top at the moment. But as I said, it doesn't mean anything at the moment.
Yeah, we'll get into a little bit of that later on as well. But yeah, but Doug, I mean, obviously you're repping Liverpool, and when Arsenal, got pegged back against Chelsea, the most recent, every fan's going to be like, yes, I'll take that. That's another 2 points gained on Arsenal if they're ever going to get back into this title race. The gap is going to be important, and I've been keeping count, Doug. You've had two good weekends where both City and Arsenal, and they've been most recent weekends where City and Arsenal have dropped points.
It's been very strange because obviously we had the week where Bournemouth beat City, and then we obviously had the week that Newcastle beat you guys, and then we had obviously City losing to Brighton, and then you guys joined to Chelsea. I've got to be honest, I actually watched that Chelsea Arsenal game. I just kind of sat back and relaxed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And look, it was a very interesting game, that Chelsea Arsenal game, because I think if we're being honest, I think Arsenal probably should have won that game. Because I think Trossard takes one off Havertz's foot, and if he leaves it for Havertz, Havertz has got a simple tap in.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things in football when things are going for you, you're going to get those bounces. Maybe Liverpool have had one or two goals like that where things have gone your way and you score that goal. But Arsenal, when the desperation was kind of coming into their play toward the end of that Chelsea game, having getting pegged back, and we were able to mount that one final attack. And another day, Trossard misses that, and it goes to Havertz, and Havertz is really raging because every footballer who gets slagged off by their previous club, they always want to come back and put one on their old team. And I'm sure Havertz, having an offside goal chalked off as well in the first half, had that opportunity. If that had come to him, no doubt. And it would have been a higher percentage chance as well if the ball had come to him, because what Trossard's trying to do is cut across the ball and guide it into the top corner or bottom corner of the far post. Very difficult technically to do that. If he'd have missed it and the ball comes to Havertz and he's got the percentages just go up there, Doug, when Havertz has that. It's more or less a tap in, where it went from a half chance to, it could have went from a half chance to, an almost certain goal with a tap in, because the goalkeeper, very low percentage of goalkeeper is going to score in that one. The thing about it, Doug, is we struggled against Bournemouth a few weeks ago in a game. Honestly, our performance was not good enough, and we had that double punishment about the sending off from Saliba, which as Liverpool fans, you're happy about that because you're coming up against a team that's not going to have one of the better defenders at the Emirates next weekend.
Yeah, look, I think a lot has been said in that Saliba red card, because obviously in the Liverpool-Chelsea game there was one similar where Tosin Adarabioyo, Jota's clean on goal and brings him down, and actually when you look at it, it's quite similar to the Saliba one, because Ben White's nowhere to be seen, and actually Colwell was about sort of 10 metres away from Tosin Adarabioyo, so it remains to be seen whether he would have actually got to the ball. But again, it's consistency, isn't it? It's consistency with referees. But yeah, that game, you didn't have Saliba, but I think you've got to say Gabriel. I'd probably say he's probably been slightly better, I would say, than Saliba this season. I think he's actually been. Him and Kanate have actually gone under the radar slightly. I think if you kind of look at what Gabriel's done for Arsenal, when you look at what Kanate's done for Liverpool, I think both of them are quite underrated, and they're kind of going slowly under the radar slightly.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Saliba's had a mixed season so far, and a lot of Arsenal players have had a mixed season so far. We're looking for obviously, injuries, slight injuries to clear up, and we're looking for those suspensions to go away because rightly or wrongly, Arsenal fans are crying about it, but we have had 3 red cards this season in the space of 11, 12 games, which is a high frequency. And us Arsenal fans would obviously feel there's some of those cautions that other teams would have gotten away with. And I agree with you, Doug. I mean, consistency is what we're looking for. You called out the Colwell foul on Jota, right? And you get a different outcome from a similar circumstance from the day before, and we're looking for consistency. If it's a yellow card, it's a yellow card both times. If it's a red card, it's a red card both times. And you get it. It's very subjective. The way the game is officiated now, it's very subjective. It's not even the referee on the field that makes the call. Now you hear it. We hear it 2 weeks later with the VAR, audio tapes when they come out, and you hear 4 or 5 people interjecting, all sort of directing the referee as to what to do. How do we untangle this mess, Doug? Is it just do we just keep going with it, or how do we fix this? The level of officiating within the PGMOL?
Your guess is as good as mine, Ray. Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, look, I think you've got to say the decision. VAR is definitely taking the decisions away from the referee. Um, I would have to say, hello, Nigel. I would say that the ref. Obviously, we're going to be listening to this forever. Referee's choice. I think we're going to hear that whole season, or the ref's call, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, like I think the one thing you've got to say is that the decisions are being taken away from the refs. When you go over to the monitor, when you see a referee go over to the monitor, you immediately expect a penalty to be given. Um, Happened a couple of times this season. I don't think the referee's changed his mind when he goes over to the monitor. So that's something that needs to be changed. But look, I think it's the people running VAR that are at fault here. I don't think it's the technology itself. I just think it's the people running it. We've obviously seen in England this season, that the referees, especially, I think refereeing is the worst it's ever been. Um, and even then, you look at like the Champions League and you look at the Europa League, they're actually handling VAR very, very well. So it sort of baffles me how the English refs don't really know how to use the technology very, very well, and they're not doing a very, very good job about it. And as we say, it's a consistency, because I think if you had maybe like an ex-player in there, maybe it might work. But it's so many ifs, buts, and maybes about VAR at the moment. It's so difficult.
well, what you actually do have with ex players, Doug, is that the ex players are they're covering it in the media.
Hmm.
The ex players are covering it for their own interactions on social
Yeah,
media.
yeah,
So where is the state of journalism and the state of media going right now? Where we have, I think Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville, to name two of them, right? I think they say a lot of outrageous things and type a lot of outrageous things and post a lot of outrageous things just for the bants and the interaction, and it's not actual proper football discourse, in my opinion.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on
I
that?
I think media is going a real, real bad way at the moment. I mean, most of the stuff you see now is really for like clicks and views, etc. Like you've got like what's his name on Talksport, Gabby Bonlahor. Like
Right.
you have Troy Deeney today saying Mo Salah's not world class according to him. He says
Yeah.
I wouldn't want my kids playing like him, or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
It's going away where it's just a lot of rubbish, clickbait, clicks, views. Um, but I agree with you. I think Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher do say a lot of outrageous stuff for clicks as well. But yeah, I think media is going down a dangerous route. I honestly think journalism is getting worse and worse and worse.
Hmm.
It's all about stats now as well. Like I haven't really read like an actual sort of post-match review where it's like just not stats based. Everything seems to be stat based these days.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, what we you're talking about. Let's get back to the PGMOL as well. I mean, it does seem to be like the standard of refereeing. It does seem to be like a very close knit group of people who are refereeing the game, and captained by Howard Webb, who doesn't seem to have improved the standards. As you said earlier, and I agree with you, VAR is actually a very, very good tool of piece of technology that,
Yeah.
if implemented and used correctly, um, without four or five people getting together, let's try and get back to a situation where on the replays, the referee is just given the pictures and not
Mm.
advised as to what they're going to see. I think that's a critical part of it, Doug. You hear them being brought to the monitor and being told what they're going to see and what the VAR teams in Stockley Park what their thoughts are on the actual action. Whereas if they didn't say anything at all and just said, "Here's a piece of tape, we're going to run it for you," and let you come to that decision, then I feel like that's a better implementation. And I can abide by that because then you have one person on the field officiating the game, and
Mm.
the result comes in as per the way they've seen the action play out. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I remember sort of growing up, and we would obviously have like a referee, a fourth official, and there would obviously be two linesmen, one to the right and then one to the left.
Yeah.
But now you've got like you've got loads of cameras. You've obviously got VAR. You've got referees in Stockley Park. You know, like that's sort of 300 miles away. Like obviously we were playing at Anfield, if we were playing at like Newcastle, for example, then that would obviously be 300, 400 miles away. Um, it's very very interesting when we say that, but refereeing for me, it's just got worse. I don't think the standard of refereeing has been great for a number of years. But you know, obviously, I know we brought that Australian ref, Jared Gillett. I think
All right,
is
Gillen.
that his name,
Yeah.
Jared Gillett. We brought him in, and you know, we saw what he was doing in like Aussie rules. Like you could actually hear him say why he made his decision. So maybe seeing the refs mic'd up might be a good possibility to see. Um, I am not for halftime interviews. I don't know about you, Ray, but
I
that
agree.
just seems to be going Americanized at the moment.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
seems to be too Americanized where we're going with that. So yeah, halftime interviews have to go. I do not want to see that at all. And actually, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but have you noticed the camera keeps panning to the set piece coach? Because when I was watching Liverpool Aston Villa the other day, it kept panning straight to Austin McPhee, the Aston Villa set piece coach. Did it again in one of the other games I was watching as well. But yeah, it's football's changing, and I don't think it's changing for the better. I think it's probably changing for the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, you put a name to the he had sort of long hair, blondish, a little bit older gentleman alongside Unai Emery. I did not know his name, and yes, football has had did pan to him at the Anfield game against Aston Villa. Of course, we all know Arsenal's set piece coach now as well, Nicholas Jover as well. A few seasons, Arsenal have been improving as a set piece team. um, Maybe our Mikel Arteta's leaned a little bit too much into that physical and working off a set piece. Of course, we have moments where we have individual brilliance, such as Bukayo Saka against Robertson at the Emirates. So we can score goals from open play as well, but Arsenal
Yeah,
have become quite reliant on set pieces now. Um, but the Liverpool game was a really really good game in terms of Liverpool had a moment of brilliance in the equalizing goal for 2-2. Uh, Arsenal took the lead under Bukayo Saka with an individual piece of play as well. And in between you've got two set plays. You know, Virgil van Dijk scoring from the corner, and Arsenal scoring with Mikel Mourinho's debut, first goal for Arsenal. So you know, what are your thoughts? I mean, that's definitely a point gained for you in the title race. Um, I was looking back at the same fixtures from last season, Doug, and something interesting popped up to me. Although the results are slightly different, so far Liverpool have the same points from the same fixtures of last season, if you know what I mean. So you played Chelsea at home. You got 3 points last season. You did the same thing this season. Now you've obviously going to gain here or lose some. You gained a point at the Emirates. You lost three against Nottingham Forest this
yeah,
season, who have been
yeah,
a surprise package. But basically, what I'm saying, Doug, is you have the same amount of points from the same fixtures this season to last. Looking at Man City, they're 3 points. They're tracking 3 points behind what they did
Mm.
last season, and Arsenal are 4 points behind what they did last season. And it's going to be obviously results, give or take. So, what I'm and I'm one of these hopeful Arsenal fans. So, 9 points is a long, long way to try to claw back. But being hopeful, I'm trying to look for you know, little shoots of optimism for me. So, as you said, I think Liverpool they've gone out of traps really quick so
Mm.
far. 9 wins from 11. You just couldn't have imagined that, Doug, right at the start of the season.
No, absolutely not. I think I think the games that we've actually won as well. Like I know Man United have been very very poor, but we went to Old Trafford and
Yep.
pretty much comfortable 3-0 win there.
3-0, yeah.
Um, we beat a very good Chelsea side. I've got to say, I think Chelsea have surprised a lot of people as well, especially with the way they've played. And I don't think many people expected them to be in the top four with Maresca in charge, but he seems to
I
be
did.
doing very, very well. You did.
I mean, we did a prediction show a couple of months ago, maybe 3 or 4 games into the season, and they
Mm,
were my pick to get into the top four. I just felt they were going to be better than Manchester United, better than Tottenham. We know the top three places, right? Without things going crazy, we know who's going to fill the top three places in the league.
yes.
But I just felt Chelsea and the way they were going under Pochettino last season. Maresca, he took a couple of weeks to get going. I think Man City have been really lucky to have Chelsea as the first game at Stamford Bridge. Get that one out of the
Yeah.
way for them.
Yeah.
It takes a coach a couple of weeks to implement his ideas. So Chelsea have been doing really well, and yes, that was a really, really, really good game that you had with Chelsea. You overcame the adversity of getting a goal put back on you with a 1-1, and then going on and finishing the game. But yeah, I mean, to your point, not a lot of people would have predicted Chelsea, but I thought they'd
Mm,
be better than United, better than Tottenham. Newcastle has been a mixed bag. So there's a
yeah.
real there's a real race behind the race, if you know what I mean, Doug, for that top four spot.
Yeah, I think you've got a few teams going up there. I mean, I don't think anyone saw Nottingham Forest the way they played
No,
so far this season. I don't think anyone saw that where they were going to go. Obviously, Brighton are up there now as well with
yeah,
that win against City. It's it's a long, long season, but I think what you've got to say is about our fixtures so far would be a very tough Ipswich side. Ipswich for me, that first game was very, very tricky. They played very, very well to begin with, but then we got the 2-0 win in the end.
yeah,
Um, you look at I look at the Champions League fixtures, like Bayer Leverkusen. Like nobody expected Bayer Leverkusen to go to Anfield and get absolutely smashed like they did 4. And I think that's another thing. We've got players this season that have really, really stepped up to the plate. I think Diaz has been fantastic when he's played. Like Gakpo has been very, very good as well. Mo Salah is Mo Salah. I mean, 20 goal involvements already, and we're only in November I think it's November the 17th or
17.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But then again, we do have some games now where you're looking at it, and yeah, some tough ones coming up because we've got Southampton coming up next Sunday, and then it's a double header of Real Madrid and Manchester City at Anfield. So that will be very very interesting. If we win one of them, then we'll wait and see. But so far so good, and I think as well we have gained the point on you guys because obviously last season we lost by 3 goals to 1 at the Emirates, and obviously got a 2-2 draw this time, which was very, very good. But I kind of look at this sort of next few fixtures. I fully expect us to go to St Mary's and beat Southampton. I think
have to be.
without sounding really, really harsh, I think they're the worst team in the Premier League this season. I know obviously Wolves beat them the weekend, but I
Yeah,
think if you look at Southampton, I think they could be the whipping boys of
yeah,
this
yeah.
season. and then obviously Real Madrid and Manchester City to come up, and then I think it's a run after that. Newcastle away, that's not going to be easy. Then we've got the Merseyside derby. Then I think it's Girona away, and then it's Fulham at home again. Fulham is a tricky game.
Oh yeah,
They've given some good teams some good games this season, so that won't be easy. And then we go to Tottenham, and that will be a game of redemption because we will definitely be wanting revenge for the offside goal that wasn't offside last season.
yeah, and that's the referees and the officials stepping in again, and either consciously or unconsciously changing the outcome of games. You mentioned a few things there, Doug. Way to Ipswich and mentioned Southampton. I drew a line a few weeks ago, the top 10 and and bottom 10 teams, and looked at City, Liverpool, and Arsenal, and nobody's actually dropped. They've all got maximum points. Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal have all got maximum points when they've gone to teams or played teams in the bottom half of the
Mm,
table. And I
yeah,
think when you talk about consistency, that's what the league is really all about, being consistent. And I think it's going to be crucial if any major points are dropped in the bottom half of the table across Arsenal, Liverpool, and City. And looking at Arsenal's fixtures, we've played a lot of teams in the top half of the table, and particularly away from home. So again, here's my optimism coming in, Doug. And you just mentioned a tough stretch coming for Liverpool. So
yeah,
with
yeah.
with 9 points, 9 points being the gap to Liverpool, um, and us trying to close that gap down a little bit. I think the next 2 months are going to be next 6 weeks are going to be important, where we get to that halfway stage and we see what's happened. Uh, Liverpool have done amazingly under Arnie Slot, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. You can talk about the difference between what you've seen from last season to this season. Uh, Outside looking in, it looks like Arnie's been a little bit more circumspect, a little bit more not gung ho. Jurgen Klopp had what he called heavy metal football. You still,
Yeah.
and you mentioned the forwards that you have. You still have all of those forwards that you can interchange, and I think that's the biggest difference between Liverpool and City and Arsenal. We don't have those players, at least not the ones in the squad right now that can. We don't have a Gakpo that can come in and score some goals. Like a Gakpo is better than the Gabriel Jesus, with all due respect, right now.
Mm,
Um, you mentioned Fulham as well. Emil Smith Rowe going to Fulham, and Reese Nelson there has sort of upgraded Fulham now, and they're doing well. So with all that being said, I think the next 6 weeks are going to be important for Arsenal, as you mentioned. Um, Liverpool have tough games coming. We've got, we mentioned Nottingham Forest as being the surprise package so
yeah.
far this season. I looked at their next 5 games. They've got 4 out of the next 5 is very, very, very tough. I mean, they got to go to the Emirates. I think they've got to play some of the top teams as well. City is going to be one of them. Yeah, they go to City as well. So, Doug, let's dig into Arnie Slot and what's been the biggest difference in the playing style between Klopp and Slot.
Um, I think the biggest change I think you've got to say is we look really, really more resolute at the back. When it was Jurgen Klopp, it was sort of this heavy metal football, as you've said. It was usually out to the wings. You usually play Salah, you usually play Diaz, and that you would probably expect the more of the play to come from the wings. Arne Slot, I think it's more for the midfield. I think you've kind of seen what Gravenberch has done this season, McAllister, and I think Curtis Jones deserves a good mention there as well. I think he's had a really good season as well. Um, Seems to be more played through the midfield, which is very very good. Um, and yeah, I think we don't give up many chances now, and I think that's the main thing I've got to say is that we don't give teams many opportunities. You know, like we did last season. You know, there's a lot of differences to last season. Defense, especially, I think we've been very very good defensively. Um, I think as well, most people have kind of noticed since Allison got injured, we haven't really missed him because Kelleher has stepped up to be a very, very good.
Anthony.
Um, yeah, so I think you've got to say he's been very good as well. You know, you have had Yaros come in for the Carabao Cup game against Brighton. He was very, very good. You know, we've obviously got another one coming in the summer, Marmadashvili. He's coming in as well. So and as well, you know, as you say, the players that have, you know, came in as well. You know, if Diaz starts, Gakpo's on the bench, but he can come in and score. Darwin Nunes is, you know, he's it's it's a conundrum with Darwin. You know, he takes the very hard chances really, really well, but see the easier ones, he always fluffs his lines for
Yes.
some reason. So
Yeah.
yeah, Captain Chaos is what we
Yeah.
like to call him. But the start Arne Slot has had has been unbelievable. 15 wins from 17 games. The only blots on there of obviously Nottingham Forest at home. You know, I think you've got to say as well. You know, I know they're going to your place. They have a game plan. They definitely have a game plan when they go away from home. They like to sit deep and then catch people on the counter. So if Arsenal have a few sort of trickery players, I think Odegaard being back is absolutely massive. I think that'll be very very good going into to that game. I think you need to be creator in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that really worries me is the contract situation with obviously Van Dijk, Trent, and Salah. Um, I don't know really what to say about that. The fact that we've let them run their contracts down. But if I had to predict at the moment who would stay, I think Salah and Virgil will be staying, and I think Trent's going. I think Trent has. I think he's got to die in Real Madrid. It doesn't really help that he's very good pals with Jude Bellingham. So Jude Bellingham will obviously be in his ear. Come to Real. Come to Real. And I think that game against Real will be very, very interesting to see what sort of mindset Trent will be in. But then again, he is injured at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see if he makes it or not. But it's going well so far. So
Well, no problem. You know, we are interested in Isak going forward. You know, he's one of the forwards we would be interested in, and I think his situation in Newcastle is very interesting right now and precarious. But I knew at the same time that he would be motivated to score against us recently when we lost to Newcastle. It wasn't a great game. It wasn't a great spectacle, a good performance at all. And the one piece of good football resulted in the goal. So what I'm saying is I think Trent will definitely put a performance in against Real Madrid, more or less as a calling card if he does want to go to Madrid.
yeah,
It's not going to, at the end of the day, I don't think if Real Madrid win, lose, or draw there, it's not going to impact their progress in the competition. They'll still be in the knockout stages, as we know. It's a glorified Super League right now, and we're really all the teams are really just playing not to play those two knockout games in February.
yeah,
You know, that's going to be very important. Liverpool's in a good position where you can, you know, there's no pressure in terms of playing Real Madrid. It can be a real marquee spectacle of a game, but Arsenal, I think, are 12th place right now and do need to be foot perfect if you want to go into the top 8 and not have those extra 2 games. So what I'm saying is I think Trent ultimately will want to go to Real Madrid. It's probably not the worst thing for Liverpool. You have a player behind Trent who's going to come through as well in the name of young Bradley. So
yes.
are you going to be disappointed if Trent moves, knowing that you have Bradley behind him?
I mean, obviously,
Will he be leaving on a free, Trent? Right, is he running it down to this summer? Is that when he's up?
yeah. you'll be able to speak to other clubs in January. So you'll be able to sign a pre-contract agreement, I think, in January. Same with Van Dijk, same with Salah. If their deals are not sealed or anything like that. I think Conor Bradley is a very good player. I think he's up and coming. Um, he is a little bit rash, but then again, that is obviously down to his age. But I think he's a very very good understudy to Trent. Um, we've got Gomez there as well, Joe Gomez. There was a lot of talk in the summer of we got Anthony Gordon and Joe Gomez, or I think Gerald Konza, I think was the other one that was potentially going the other way, but that didn't happen. So I'm kind of happy that didn't happen because Gomez in the last game, I think it was against Bayer Leverkusen, was outstanding. I think he was when he came on against Aston Villa, he was very very good as well. So I think when you look at the players who are coming in as well, you look at. I think the left back situation could be a very interesting one this summer. Um, Robbo's now at an age where he's kind of going into his prime months now. So it'll be interesting to see that the left back situation, obviously with Trent's situation as well. I think Kelleher is another one. You look at Cleveland Kelleher. Obviously Allison is to come back. It'll be interesting to see if Allison does come back against Southampton. What Slot does? Does he keep Kelleher in? Because for me, I don't think you change it because I think the way Kelleher's been playing at the moment, all right, he's had a bit of a heavy defeat tonight, but again, that's different to club football. And I think the defence that he has at Liverpool is very very good. So yeah, it's very interesting, but yeah, of course, I'd be sad to see Trent go, but no one's bigger than the club. I think that's the safest thing to say. No one is bigger than the club. If Trent wants to go, just let him go. There's no point in keeping an unhappy player at the club and keeping them. So it'll be sad to see him go, but I would understand why he would want to go because Real Madrid is one of the biggest clubs in world football.
Yeah, and look, it might be a situation where if you're going to try to keep an unhappy player, that might not be a good thing either. A player who Trent seems like the type of personality who would like to go and try football on another continent, and almost cash in on where his status right now to get to Real Madrid. We mentioned Saliba a little while ago. That's Arsenal fans would worry about. If the pressure is maybe a little bit more on Arsenal this season to actually hit home a trophy, to bring something into the cabinet. Arne Slot wouldn't have that pressure, but obviously you're in a nice position in a lot of competitions right now. One thing about Kelleher, so Doug, what I would see looking from outside is Allison's had a lot of injuries in the last year and a half. So would the club be thinking about keeping Kelleher and giving him and almost transitioning to almost outrageous for me to say this, but maybe you said it yourself. It would be interesting to see what Arne Slot does with famously last season we had the goalkeeping question with Arteta, Ramsdale and Raya. It's difficult to keep two very, very good goalkeepers at one club, and when both want to be first choice. Would Arne Slot maybe transition to Kelleher in this situation?
It's a difficult one with Kelleher. I think it's been very, very publicised he wants to go in the summer. He wants to go and find first team football, which I totally, totally get. I think he has been, whenever he has stepped up for us, he's been very, very good.
Yep.
I think there is a situation there with Allison. He is getting too many injuries. I think it's really, really safe to say that. But then again, you've got Kelleher there to come in if Allison's not ready, etc. But I think this is his last season in Liverpool. I think he'll probably go in the summer. I don't think the club wants to see him go, but it's no secret that he wants to be a number one. But if he does go, I don't want him to go to like a lower Premier League team because I think he's better. I think I think he is capable of being a number one at a top six club. I really do, or somewhere abroad.
Chelsea. So a team like
Chelsea,
Chelsea, team like maybe Newcastle. That's kind of like
yeah,
you're looking at existing teams that are pretty much up in the top half of the table. But
yeah.
you could Kelleher Kelleher's probably better than Sanchez, or better than Dubravka or Pope.
I I think if you're looking at the teams that we mentioned, Chelsea, he's better than Sanchez. He's better than that Jorgensen. I've not seen him play for Chelsea in the league. I know he's been playing in the Conference League.
Mm-hmm.
Still quite funny to see Chelsea in the Conference League, to say the very least. Um, Newcastle's an interesting one because you have got Dubravka, you have got Nick Pope, but I think I think Nick Pope has kind of gone down a little bit in estimation. So could be a very interesting decision to be made, but I think Kelleher is well worthy of a place in a Newcastle or a Chelsea. But preference, I would say Newcastle. I think he would thrive under Newcastle.
Right. Well, the backup has just joined us. Jack is here. Thanks for joining us, Jack.
Hi, gents. Apologies, I'm late. Almost apologies, but
That's all right.
better late than sorry anyway.
Doug was the number one choice. You're a bit like Allison in this situation, and Doug is Kelleher in this situation. He's got the starting job right now, and you have to dislodge him, Jack. So,
yeah.
But anyway, thanks for joining in, Jack.
Yeah, hope both well. Hope you both well.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts, Jack, on... We've talked about a lot of things. I've talked a lot about things with Doug. What are your thoughts on Mo Salah? He's been, for me, he looks like a player, obviously, who's playing for a contract. And whenever a contract year comes up, a player just elevates his levels. And I think Mo Salah's been one of the most consistent players in the Premier League for many, many years. And now he just seems like he's gone up a level. And with respect, I would probably say I could attribute 6 points extra to Mo Salah just this season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he's been that good for you. He's been another 6 points for you.
Yeah, he's like, I think for me, growing up as a kid, even though I was a Liverpool fan, I loved Thierry Henry. I think every footballing fan loved what Thierry Henry done for Arsenal, and not just the Arsenal, but the Premier League in terms of captivating the eyes on the world, really. I think hopefully Doug this season, and lads, for our perspective, he does win a league title. Hopefully by the end of his career, wins a couple more league titles. I think obviously the elephant in the room is Manchester City. Whatever does happen with them in that regard, I think if it wasn't for them, we could have been looking at something very different. In all honesty, could have had 5, 6, whatever Champions Leagues as well. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for Real Madrid, it's Real Madrid. But yeah, he's a special player, mate, and I think me and Doug and most Liverpool fans were just enjoying every single second of it. I think I've spoken to Doug countless occasions already this season when he come down as well. A couple of weeks ago to see me, well, not just to see me, to go to the game as well. But it's good to see you soon, Doug, as well. But it's just, I'd love him to retire, mate. I think every Liverpool fan would. I think you could offer the club as much money as you want, but at the end of the day, I think if it meant him winning just one more league title and a potential Champions League in a couple of years' time, I think we'd all take it because he's instrumental, mate. I think if he can get a couple more league titles, I think certainly if you went with a 4-3-3, I think in everyone's starting 11 of Premier League XI, starting 11, I'd have Henry on the left and I'd have Salah on the right, and then it's a big debate who goes up front for me, mate. But yeah, special player. Hope he retires, mate, and he won't be demanding big money. Just get him boxed off.
Is the club going to stump up? Are they going to pay him that money, or what's going to happen in the end?
Yeah, I think probably Doug's already mentioned tonight, mate, on the show in that regard. It might be a little bit more percentage, really. Potential bit more percentage. When you look at deals of that magnitude, probably a bit similar with Saka as well. Obviously, a 50-50 for him, in and around that ballpark, 300 grand. Players of that ilk do deserve it as well. It probably will be a bit more incentive-based in terms of goals bonus might be going up a bit more.
What's he on? What's he on right now, Jack?
I think it's 350, but it's obviously performance enhanced as well, because obviously with the goals and assists, I think Bobby was on that, Mane was on that as well. And I think famously Firmino didn't score a tap in just so he'd allow. He was on like a performance. Was it Doug? He was on. He just left it in 1 week. It was like it
Yeah.
was a certain date that the goals had to go in, and he just left it for Mane. So just goes to show his quality, mate. But yeah, I think it'd just be a bit more percentage based in terms of goals or image rights or whatever, little percentage here and there. But yeah, 350 grand is still for me quite cheap. If he is to get 20 goals, 20 assists in the Premier League this season, if he continues that trajectory in which he's been going on this season, so yeah, he's deserved every penny, mate.
Yeah, I think so far has been the player of the season after these 12 games. Some people, the media, again, we talked to Doug about this, the media a little bit earlier. Some people putting forward Cole Palmer. Well, he's not showing, as Doug has said in his post, he's not showing up against the bigger teams, the big boys. And Mo Salah, when Arsenal face Liverpool, you almost like put a goal down. You get a goal start with just Mo Salah being on the pitch. We've stopped Jota from doing that so much now, but Mo Salah is always there and always going to be on the premises.
Yeah.
Similar, we could also say to balance it out, either Saka or Martinelli is going to hurt you in those games. You know what I mean? So that's why when Liverpool Arsenal face up, they're always pretty close games.
A lot of goals.
And we haven't. We've been unbeaten against you for 5 or 6 games now. So, and talking to Doug here, Jack, Arsenal just hope that we go to Anfield with 3 games left in the season with something to actually play for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've said to you, Ray, over the years, mate, knowing you, like even when I've been on your streams as well, I've countlessly said to you and the lads, just go out and buy that extra. I can't believe after all these years, Ray, how have you still not got a number 9? Like how Arsenal, like as I was saying, speaking about Henry, Arsenal are renowned for having elite level players at the top end of the pitch. Aubameyang and all that. Aubameyang was consistent for maybe 1 or 2 years, but in terms of the big blockbuster signings, someone that guarantees you goals, go out, spend £100 million. Might be a lot of money, but at the end of the day, if it wins you a league title, wins you a couple of trophies, it's pocket change really for all these.
I think the Cronkies and KSC may be very similar to FSG in that respect. They're not always going to pump money into the team. And correct me if I'm wrong. You've had a midfield 3 or 4 years ago. You had a midfield that was in desperate need of rehauling, and you didn't do it till last season with I think McAllister and who else did you get?
Szoboszlai.
Yeah. So you sort of let the midfield was stagnant for a little bit with the likes of Thiago getting older and
Hendo, Fabinho, Fox as well.
So I think something similar has happened at Arsenal. Okay, Mikel Arteta's been very aware of what's happening at the back, because I don't know if you're aware, but when Mikel Arteta had one of his last games with City, it was at Arsenal, and we got caned 3-0. And I think he took that trauma with him into the job and sort of said about changing our defense and overhauling our defense. We had players like David Luiz, who could be good on his day, but was always prone to a mistake. We've changed all of that back four to now what you would recognize as a pretty good back four. And we actually have gone and got a little bit more cover in the likes of Ricciardo, Calafiori, and Timber. Injuries have been I think injuries are part of everybody's season as well. How has your season been, Jack and Doug, injury-wise so far?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I mean the players we've had out, obviously Alisson's been out. We've missed Harvey Elliott for about the season. Jota's out at the moment, and Chiesa, who Again, don't believe what you read. Apparently, people are saying he's going to be going back to Serie A in January. Well, there was a picture of him, I think, a couple of days ago with a large smile. Now, if that's a player who is unhappy at Liverpool, then tell me otherwise. But yeah, we have had our fair share of injuries. And we've been pretty fortunate as well. But
Alisson, big one as well.
yeah.
Yeah, we know how instrumental he's been. I think Jota in and out couple already, and big injury already this season. It's I'll agree.
It's not so much. I mean, it's not so much the injuries as who you have to cover in those situations. As we we're talking about Alisson and Jota, you've got the players within the squad that can come in and do a job for you whilst Jota's injured, whilst Alisson's injured. Being an Irishman, I know Kelleher's quality, albeit today he had a tough time. As Doug said, it's not often the quality of the goalkeeper, but the quality of players
in front of you,
playing in front of you as well.
Spot on. Yeah, spot on.
So it's a different, and he won, as Doug said, he wants to play and he wants to maintain maybe his number one status with the Republic of Ireland, because I think Bazuna has been holding that shirt for a little bit,
Yeah, I just love his attitude. I know Doug's probably already mentioned it tonight, mate, but his attitude,
very calm, isn't he?
Yeah, it's exceptional, mate. Like, because many players in the Premier League, especially second choice, might kick off, might demand to go to another club, but Kelleher knows that he's at Liverpool, he's getting his opportunities. He knows Alisson's in front of him, but I think obviously behind closed doors, he might have told Arnie, I want to go possibly the next 2 years, but he's putting in himself in the shop window, certainly. I think how many episodes have we done, Doug, where we're like, oh, Kelleher might go this year, but the season transpires and then he's still at the club, but he doesn't kick off and moan. I don't know what Arteta was trying to do. He said to you this last year, Ray, with obviously Ramsdale and obviously David Ray. I love Ray as a goalkeeper, but I think Ramsdale should have put the club before himself, really. I get he wanted to speak out and do, but it's like doing podcasts and all that. Like, if you want to say publicly, do it behind closed doors in regards to speaking to the manager. You back David Ray, you put in performances. I think when Ramsdale did come in for Arsenal, he didn't put in the performances to the level in which Kelleher was seeing now, where like Alisson's coming back in a couple of weeks. Doug, obviously, Slot's already said, Ali, you're coming straight back in, but Kelleher has not made it quite easy for himself, really, in terms of Alisson going straight back in, mate.
He's been outstanding. I said earlier, whenever he's came in, he's not put a foot wrong. I think we need to remember as well, he was absolutely outstanding in that Carabao Cup final last season. Some of the saves he made as well, and the thing is with Queeve is that he is a very good penalty kick shot stopper. He absolutely loves penalty kicks, and when he does eventually leave, and I think it will be very, very soon, he will go down as a real good player. Because a lot of people will say, look, not being a number 2 goalkeeper is very, very good, but how many times has he stepped up for us, Jack? He's been absolutely outstanding this season, and I think against Aston Villa, you saw, he was outstanding. The Onana save from the corner, he had another one where he panned it out, but obviously Gravenberch was there as well, and not one-on-ones. Like, I honestly think he has been learning from Alisson, which is really, really good to see. We've got a very good goalkeeping coach, and obviously Claudio Taffarel, one of the greatest Brazilian goalkeepers you've ever seen as well. So it's definitely helping him having Alisson, and obviously watching his game, and then seeing what he can improve on. And I honestly think Kelleher has really got much better. As well, getting better with every game as it passes.
Yeah, it's the level though, right, and lads in chat as well for all your teams. I think Liverpool wouldn't have got anywhere close to City if it wasn't for the improved squad depth. Because I think we watched, especially when Arsenal were at their pump with obviously Arsene Wenger and Alex Ferguson as well. Like it was just squad depth that really shone from both of those teams. Even
Yeah.
Mourinho's great sides as well for Chelsea. Like you mentioned, Kelleher, Costas does a job really. Bradley, young lad coming through. Curtis Jones obviously could have a breakout season. His final breakout. Well, it took a while, but he's getting. He's only still 22. But obviously caveated with obviously bringing in the quality. I do obviously from an outside point of view, Ray, look at the Arsenal squad. I don't think he's a million miles away. I honestly don't. I just think if you can get a top striker, I know it's difficult to say and get a top striker, but if you spend the money up front, you've got certainly the best defense in the league, in my opinion, when they're all fully fit. And you've got David Raya. I think it's just a matter of just getting goals and getting a replacement or a player of the level of Odegaard, really. Obviously, yes.
BX Gunner, one of our moderators here. I mean, BX will know. Of all the clubs in the top half of the table that I want to have a rivalry with, it would be Liverpool, and purely because you've built success in the right way, in my opinion. And we've seen Man City come through, and it's questionable as to their methods. You know, we all hope that our club do the right things. Man City fans, the ones who have been, with the team for donkey's years, right? Donkey's years. They're enjoying success right now, but I'm sure some of them know it's under false pretenses, allegedly, and we'll see what happens when it comes out. Chelsea's been another one who's been propped up by Abramovich over the years, and now Todd Bowley, who is going to pump money into it as well. But I think Liverpool and Arsenal and even United, even though that's our common enemy, right? Manchester United, Arsenal, and Liverpool. They've always done, and they call it the established clubs as well. It's not the established clubs. It's just that the better players want to go to the better teams, and that's how Liverpool have been at the top, Man United have been at the top, and Arsenal historically the third most successful team in the country. Before '92, because there was football before '92.
Yeah, especially telling them that they're new age fans as well. It's we only won one Premier League. Hang on, what about the previous 18 old lady championships that we have? It's just mad, but
if I do watch other podcasts, it would be Liverpool podcasts. So just saying that. So Tom's here, Ray finally revealing himself to the world as a Liverpool fan. It's just I want that rivalry, and I think it's going to happen as well. We're going to spend a few minutes to talk about City in a little bit as well. Not saying allegedly in our analysis either. We can talk about City in other ways. The thing, just going back a little bit, Jack and Doug, you mentioned why did Arsenal do that with the goalkeepers? Ramsdale, I think, imparted a measure of stress on the back four when he was in the club. He was great for elevating the feel good factor within the Emirates, and the things that Mikel Arteta have done with the club over 4 or 5 years has elevated us from those depths of being beaten by City 3-0. We'd go to Anfield, get beaten 4-1, and Arteta's getting into a scrap with Jurgen Klopp and facing up with him. Okay, and I get it. Liverpool fans see Arteta as ex-Everton and ex-City, so he's a great guy to key in on and not really like too much. But as Arsenal fans, you have to understand that we're going to rep him because he has taken us from 8th place finishes to challenging in the Premier League. So I accept tribalism, football tribalism, as Liverpool fans are going to have a go at Mikel Arteta. And look, I didn't particularly like him playing You'll Never Walk Alone.
I just find
that in the training. He's got a few. He's got some different methods, Jack. He's got some different methods, but you had success with Klopp, but with some of that came some controversial moments, let's say, on the sideline, and it's gotten Liverpool Football Club in some hot water and some controversy.
Yeah.
Now, in saying that, when you're successful, you're going to get into controversy
Yeah.
because every coach on that sideline, Pep wants to win.
You want to
Jurgen
see
Klopp
passion,
wants,
don't you?
they want it's passion.
Yeah.
They're winners. They want
Yeah.
to win. Mikel Arteta wants to win. Arnie Slot, you better believe, wants to win. And Pep Guardiola wants to win, albeit with 25 superstars in his team. You know what I mean? And how that has been funded allegedly, we'll know eventually, right?
Yeah,
So,
soon in the next year.
soon enough. So, Doug, I'll go to you first. News today, I think, or maybe it's it's like toast. It's just gotten cold. It's not so new. Pep Guardiola is signing on for 1 year, but that's really, I think everyone knows, right? That's just really he's got so many get out clauses in that 1 year extra contract. If things go south in the spring or whenever these verdicts come down, he's out of there, right, Doug?
Yes. I think he'll be saying goodbye in 2026. I think it's quite inevitable that Pep will be leaving very, very soon. Just sort of going on City, I think they're a little bit weaker this season. Now, when I say that, they didn't really sign many players in the summer. We didn't either. To be fair to us, obviously Mohamed Ashvili and obviously Chiesa. But I think the biggest thing with City, their squad is a bit like ours a couple of seasons ago. It's aging. And I think that's really catching up to them as well. And I think as well, I know Alvarez wanted to leave, say, for Atletico, but to not get a replacement, I think they're already regretting that. Because if Alan gets injured, you struggle to see where the goals are going to come from. Gundogan's not been great either since he's came back as well. Obviously since Savinho as well. It's unprecedented that they've had 4 defeats in a row. It's completely unheard of when you hear Manchester City have 4 defeats in a row. First time since I think the Stuart Pearce years, and that was 2006. So it's been a long, long time. It's been a long, long time. I think these City supporters who have been through sort of thick and thin will be obviously knowing about it, but sort of newish fans will be like, they've not experienced this before. So I think, I honestly think City are going through a bit of a rot at the moment, and they do it. It doesn't get easy. They've got Tottenham, and then they go to Anfield. So it doesn't get any easier for them as well. But I think Pep is kind of the noticing that he is very, very passionate. He obviously wants to do well at City, and what he's won has been fantastic. Albeit with whatever comes out of the 115, we'll wait and see. But I think City are going down a road where, unfortunately, they do have a bit of an aging squad, and I think it has caught up to them. And I think the biggest part of that is obviously Rodri. Not having a player of Rodri's class, I think is a big, big worry. So I would be absolutely amazed if they don't sign anyone in January.
It's almost like Rodri's a -6, where Salah's a +6 so far. Rodri's been a -6. When you see documentaries, and Rodri's in the background going absolutely mental in the dressing room because the performance has not been there. And, we're not going to win a league title if we don't do the right things. Every club needs a player like that to keep the dressing room in line and make sure that, everybody's coming to training hard, because being an Arsenal fan, I saw this 6-7 years ago. It's almost like some clubs can get like a social club where you just want to, Tottenham have been there for 40 years since 61. You know what I mean? And that's just, you need players like that in your team. And if you don't have Rodri on the team, you as Doug is keyed in on, it's and did he won the Ballon d'Or, right?
Yeah.
Rodri.
And I felt that was deserved, lads. Just caveat that. I don't get the foot. You can a defensive player can win the Ballon d'Or. Like there is an art to that as well. I get
Yes.
it's not like sexy because you're not picking the 60-goal striker, whoever it is.
Yeah.
But like for me, like Rodri was instrumental to City the last couple of years, Spain as well. Yeah, it's one of them. It's with City as well. Quickly to add on to that, very in regards to what Doug said. I think a couple of seasons when we did win the league, when we just absolutely annihilated the league before even Christmas,
Yeah.
and we ran off with it. They had obviously Eric Laporte get injured in that season, and the following season, I think they went out and got Ruben Diaz and a couple of other centre halves, another like £50 million centre halves. Nice, isn't it? Ake, Gravazio, 70, 80 million. The list is endless. But it's one of them. But if that opportunity, and that's why if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be frustrated as well, because if City do drop off, right, and the lads in the comments as well, you just need to be there, especially Liverpool do slip up as well. You can't be allowing another team in and around us, considering how well Arsenal have been playing over the last 2-3 year periods. Like, you just need to be there, and like that's why it's said to Doug this season.
That's what I said to Doug. You know, I'm sure you're aware, Jack. We've played a lot of the teams in the top half of the table in the first 12 games, and majority of them have been away from home. So now, till we get to the halfway point in the new year here, it's going to be very important for Arsenal to get a stream of wins together. 6, 7, 8 wins together to start to bring Liverpool and City back to us, because obviously you're going to play each other in a few days from now, a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's dropping points there. I know it's Anfield, and you'll probably win that game playing in Anfield. And you got the Mo Salah effect. Erling Haaland, I keep this stay humble in every banner now because of Erling Haaland's comments to Mikel Arteta. But I think it's important for every fan base to understand to stay humble. And you win games, and you can celebrate it. Odegaard can take photographs all he wants, but you got to get back down to brass tacks at the end of the day as well. If you lose games, also stay humble, because you weren't good enough. We weren't good enough against Bournemouth, and the officials didn't help us either. But we didn't look like we were going to score if we kept playing till Christmas against Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think even like when we've been in tighter runs as well, like seasons, whoever deserves to win the league wins the league. I think 99% out of the time. Obviously, I think even the realms where we've lost the league titles by 1 or 2 points, you do look and analyze certain situation, go, wow. But at the end of the day, it's about focusing on ourselves. Because how many times, Doug, in our title runnings, was it City had dropped points, but for the last couple of years, we dropped points on the same week. But this season, hopefully, that's where the swing is, where if we do the business against City, it's difficult, but win when everyone, because that's where the pressure is then. That's where the pendulum does swing in your direction. It's like, right, boys, it's up to you now. Go out and show to the other rivals and obviously the rest of the world what you're all about as well.
No, I think you're absolutely spot on. And I think when you look at the games as well that we've taken advantage on, obviously, Bournemouth beating City, Newcastle beating Arsenal, we beat a very good Brighton side. I think Brighton have been very, very good this season as well. And then beating a very good Villa side. And, we have taken advantage. But like previous seasons, I think City went to Newcastle one year. I think they lost 2-1. And then I think we had Leicester City at Anfield, and we only drew 1-1. And it's just those kind of games as well. There was one season as well, where it was the 18-19 season, where we won the Champions League, but we lost to City, and that was a pivotal moment. If we had beaten City, we'd probably gone on and won the league. So it's just those sort of fine margins. And look, we know that City can go on a capable run. We know City can go on a real long run. But I think if you kind of look at City at the moment, they look very, very vulnerable defensively. And that, I think, is again down to not having Rodri.
It creeps in very, very slowly at first, Doug, because I remember it was a few years ago when either Liverpool or Arsenal were in contention. And we were lamenting the fact that a lot of teams actually are beaten in the tunnel before they go onto the field against City. They just don't have the will or belief that they can go at City. And I think gradually that's eroded away. And now, especially with Rodri out injured, City look beatable almost every weekend. And it's a low scoring game in the end of the day. You got to
Yeah.
score. You got to get 2 goals up or 3 goals up to feel comfortable in the Premier League, because on any given day, any result can come in. Brighton took the lead against you and
Yeah.
probably were good value for a two goal
Yeah.
lead, but didn't get that second goal and just left the door open for Liverpool to come back in the last 20-25 minutes of that game. But yeah, I think, Jack, you mentioned, or maybe you mentioned that Doug, Odegaard coming back. I was amazed by Odegaard just coming back and being able to play the full game against Chelsea in what was a high-powered, London derby, and not only that, but fashioning the goal for Martinelli to go ahead with. Where did he get all of that energy from? I'm just amazed. The energy levels within Odegaard, and he's probably more important than Bukayo Saka now. We've seen that this season.
I love him as a player, as I said before, mate. And
Yeah.
if there's one player that you could probably pick out of that Arsenal team, I'd certainly pick him. Obviously, I love Saka as well, but in terms of what he does possess on a football pitch, it's very special. I think some of us with Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, you need leaders, as you alluded to before, right? In terms of the structure within the dressing room as well.
Yeah.
You need players to carry you over line in the difficult moments. Adams, the Vieira's, the list is endless, and that great. The titles you was won under, you literally had captain in every single position that they could. They've got the characteristics. But similar with us, with Robbo, obviously Van Dijk, Trent possibly could lead the line. Van Dijk, Ibu certainly could lead France in a couple of years' time as well. Like this, you need leaders in every team really, and I think especially down the span of your team. But yeah, I think the main thing for Arsenal, keeping hold of Saliba, keeping hold of obviously Odegaard as well, because I think you need to. But what you need to do with those players, similar with our lads over the last couple of seasons as well. That's why me and Doug have done countless episodes over the years. It's like strengthen, because you've got Salah there, you've got Van Dijk there, you've got Alisson. If you're a player in that dressing room, you want to see your club be active in the transfer market. It's not being active like Chelsea going out and spending 10 players. You need to see quality come into the changing room and just say, oh, bloody hell, we've got a chance of winning things here. Because that's how you keep your best players. Yeah, you can spend all the wages that you want, but I think in terms of keeping that performance level, and that's how your performances get better. Similar when we went out and got those 2 big players in terms of selling Coutinho. Yeah, we went out and got Alisson. We've cried out for a goalkeeper for years. Van Dijk, we've cried out for a world-class centre-half for years. They come in and they impacted the club within a matter of 6 months. Like the levels were astronomical, really.
Yeah.
In terms of, and that's just 2 positions.
And that's some of the things that Arsenal fans have been disappointed with. You mentioned it as well, Jack. We haven't gone and got that premium goal scorer. I think Kai Havertz has found a new impetus in his career at Arsenal under Arteta. Had a really good season last season, and I think he's got every chance of maybe not scoring 20 goals in the league, but getting darn close to 20 goals in the league. And I think Odegaard coming back could be the impetus to us starting to build up some momentum now, because we dropped points against Liverpool at home. Obviously, difficult to beat Liverpool at any day, but you really need to be winning your home games in a title winning, and having dropped points against Bournemouth the week before. We really needed to go to Chelsea, because in of itself, going to Chelsea and getting a draw is not the worst result, because City did it last season. Liverpool did it opening day last season, and Arsenal actually drew 2-2 there last season. But it's just the pressure we put ourselves under at Bournemouth and against Liverpool at home, that that draw was just 2 points from 9, and that's where we've dropped off recently. That's 7 points that we could have used to bridge the gap between us and you right now. So I know Doug, he's been tweeting very happy with the 9-point gap to Arsenal because I'd be smiling too, Doug, if I was up in on 27. Where are you now? 28 points, right? And Arsenal on 19.
Thing is,
But,
Ray, have you put him on mute yet? Have you muted him on Twitter? Yeah.
no, I wouldn't do that.
Give it a couple of weeks. Ray's like, oh, Doug.
I wouldn't do that.
That
That was one thing starting out. I've always wanted to podcast with Doug because he's always been one of those. Okay, he has a tinge of tribalism towards his own club, right? But he's generally very sensible, and we can have honest discourse on Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter because I don't go with the X thing. Honest discourse, and we never, we never really you never really give each other too much shit, about it. So you don't find that too much in that arena. So thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. But
You're welcome.
we want to get one of those Champions Leagues because we can't sit at the same table until we get a Champions League, and we're hoping, it can happen under Mikel Arteta. But speak to this a little bit, Doug. I know I'm going a little bit all over the place, and maybe it's a good time now because there's no club football till next week. Arsenal fans are starting to, the percentage is getting lower, right? Some of them are breaking away into Arteta out. Have you ever noticed that with Jurgen Klopp, or you're not going to notice it this season with Arne Slot because you've just gone off to a great start? But is there a degree of that within the Liverpool fan base as well? When results it's a results-based business. You don't get the results. You see the minority, the vocal minority, pipe up a little bit more.
Yeah, when we had a run in games, and we lost 3-0 against Brighton. I think it was 3-0 against Wolves or 3-1 against Wolves. And I remember then a lot of people were thinking Klopp out. Not me
Sure.
or Jack, but I think there was a minority who were like, "Oh, is this when is this when Jurgen Klopp's deciding to get really, really bad?" But I don't think we've had that kind of yet. Talked to a lot of other fans, and Brendan Rodgers was a prime example. A lot of people were sort of close to wanting him to go.
I've lived through 6 months of Roy Hodgson, Doug. We all have. It can't get any worse than that, mate. That was an absolute utter shambles.
Yeah.
Good our boy, for what he's done for football. But yeah, he just did not get Liverpool. I've never seen a manager come into a football club and just not get anything at the football club. The fact they brought in Paul Konchesky, and Poulsen as well from Juventus. I swear he was about 72 when he come in.
No joke. I was actually at the first game of his tenure. Funnily enough, it was against Arsenal, and I was sitting right behind the goal, and I could see what Joe Cole was about to do, and I was like, he's going to get sent off here. And immediately when you seen him go into that challenge, you knew he was going to get red card. Thankfully, David and Gog, of all people, saved us. And then I think you guys got an own goal from Reina, I think, if I remember rightly. But yeah, I think it's a good thing that X or anything like that wasn't around at that time, because I think if Liverpool supporters would be going apeshit on X.
Could you imagine Istanbul, mate? They'd all be deleting the Twitter accounts, lads.
Yeah.
We're 3-0 down. We should be 7-0 down.
Thierry Henry comes to Arsenal, doesn't score for his first 6 or 7 games. It's crazy.
Mad, isn't it?
You got to give players a chance to settle in as well. Mr. Tom, our Leeds correspondent here, that Hodgson Liverpool team just felt depressing.
Even Tom as a neutral, mate, you're like, what are you doing? He's like, come on.
What's the differences between between this Liverpool current team and the title-winning one in 1920?
I'll go with that one then, and Doug can add on as well, mate, his opinion. Great question, mate. It's I'd say possibly the defensive structure. I think in terms of the neutrals that do watch Liverpool, if you do watch this season, there's a lot more control to our game. The scariest point to our game is we are. I know we're only in what 3-4 months into Arne Slot's era of Liverpool. I think he'll be, as the years go on, there'll be a lot more emphasis in terms of controlling games. But the fact that Arne Slot, he's on the touchline, but his brain is going at 1,000,000 mph. It's like there's amount of times where you'd watch Jurgen Klopp and you'd be like, "Come on, lads, do something on Twitter." Like we'd never be proactive in terms of within a game. I know obviously Klopp's magic was his man management, but I would have liked in those big games in certain seasons to just tweak things here and there. But yeah,
Tactical.
a bit more tactical. Arne Slot is
Okay.
he's a master by all works. I know it's early stages, but the stuff he does on a minute to minute basis within a game, you're watching this Liverpool team and you're like, wow. Like even dropping a man into the midfield, like just tactically, he understands the game so well. And this is coming from me that didn't know a lot about Arne Slot coming
Yeah.
in from
Yeah.
Feyenoord. I didn't, but the main thing is the defensive solidity as well. Though, gonna in regards to that title winning, clean sheets and having a solid defense. You know this very well with your lads in the Wenger era as well. Just being defensively resolute. Like Ibu has been probably better than Van Dijk in certain games this season.
It has
But
been.
yeah,
I think there was a case maybe of Saliba, the Arsenal fans pushing Saliba, and
I love
Saliba
Saliba and Gabriel.
he's been great for a couple of seasons, and I think Doug Riley pointed out, and I agree with this. Gabriel has been the warrior in the back, goes doing more of the dirty work, and Saliba's more of the sleek kind of player. But Konate's really stepped forward for Liverpool. As an Arsenal fan, we're behind 6-7 points and now 9. Looking at your performances and hoping something gets through. It can take some points away from you.
There will be points dropped though, right? As I said, like
I get
don't
it.
panic. Yeah,
I am not panicking. I'm looking to my next checkpoint will be the new year, and we can't be more than 9 points behind because then it's throw the towel in. If we're like 5 or 6 points back, then I think we've got a real chance really to go through spring and maybe close it in. Either way, I don't want City to win this league again. It's not good for the Premier League for that to happen. But I think Konate has just been a monster, really, being really great at the back and getting more props than Saliba right now. But we hope Saliba can come back. Arsenal have been leaking goals in these 12 games, principally because we've been playing good teams. When you play good teams, that happens, and our performances have not been good. There's some elements of what we did last season. We've put in some bad performances against Bournemouth and Newcastle. Didn't do anything all game. But yeah, I do see Arne Slot you're right, Jack, on the sideline. He's continually thinking and probably a little bit more tactical. And we know, I'm hoping we go to Anfield, Arsenal go to Anfield with something on the line that we've closed the gap enough. Because 4 months from now, who knows what happens in the league, and that'll be a great tactical game. I think Mikel Arteta can be tactical enough. He does have his drawbacks. He does have his issues, and I think a lot of them are over focusing on the technical side. I think he's. I don't want to say tinkered, but I think he's got a very controlled view to the way Arsenal plays.
Just a quick one. With that, Ray, I think probably I was watching before I joined anyway, but you probably mentioned it. But I'm very surprised in regards to how the balance. I'm very surprised watching Arsenal's neutral. Like, I get obviously with the injuries and everything, but the great foundations. I just don't get this. I think you're stifling your good attacking flair that you've got in your team for the betterment of just being a bit more defensively solid.
Yep.
I think the main thing is just balance. I think with Arsenal,
balancing act, right? I mean, you have that Liverpool. I think Arne Slot's tried to give you a little bit more defensive solidity. So maybe you're not scoring. I don't know how many goals you're scoring. You're on the same rate as last season, but maybe you're not scoring quite as many goals, but you're not definitely not conceding them. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
I think Arteta's been overly cautious of having a solid back four, back five, and then the midfield. Whenever you bring some new pieces into any team, it takes 4 or 5 months to get those players bedded in, and some hit the ground quicker than others. And I think Mikel Mourinho has had, I think he had a good performance against Chelsea, so maybe he's turned the corner, and he's played with Odegaard before, Doug. So maybe that they recognize each other's game. They played at Sociedad for a while as well, so maybe that's going to help our midfield moving forward. Odegaard was on loan at Sociedad from Real Madrid a number of seasons ago, and that's why I'm always going to push this Isak thing as well, because Isak's another player that played with Sociedad. He played with Odegaard, he played with Mourinho, and I don't know what's going to happen, Jack and Doug, but we need to get ourselves a Gyökeres or an Isak. It's the missing piece, apart from left back, which you're going to have that issue as well in the coming seasons.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I think I think the one thing about Arsenal is that striker. You need that missing piece, and then you'll be fine. And again, I think the left back situation is going to be very, very interesting. I've seen a few, and again, don't believe everything you read. I've seen Robinson being linked. I've seen Nuri being linked as well. And I think Costas has been linked with a move away as well. But again, we don't really do business in January. So if something's there, we make it. But if we don't do anything in January, I wouldn't be too surprised.
What have you? Okay, how do I phrase this? How come Liverpool have not seen any issues with their players coming out of the summer and the summer tournament? You don't seem to have been affected by the amount of football that your superstars have to play. Is that fair to say that you've hit the ground?
I don't think the England players. I think you kind of seen them sort of try and get back up to speed a little bit.
Trent doesn't even get picked for England now, Doug, does he?
No, that's a good thing for Liverpool, maybe.
Yes, it's good for us.
We see
Gravenberch didn't get picked by Koeman in the Euros. Didn't play a single minute. So. And Gakpo got a good enough break as well. But no, look, I think we've obviously had the Euros, we've had the Copa America as well. Players, there's too many games being played. I think the fact we've had 3 international breaks before December is ridiculous. To have one in September, to have one in October, to have one in November is ludicrous. And then you've got this blooming...
Extra 4 Champions League games in...
Aye. Yeah, and then you've got this Club World Cup starting in the summer. There's too many games. Man City can say all about like having an injury crisis. I remember Liverpool last season against Chelsea. We had 15 first team players out against Chelsea. I think we had a couple that came sort of back within that week. Yeah. So we played a lot of youngsters that played in that final and played really, really well. I've got to add as well. Yeah. So City can moan about their injuries, but injuries are part and parcel of football, unfortunately. And I just look at City. I look at Arsenal, and we've all had injuries. We have all had injuries, and I honestly think the way it's going at the moment, we have to take advantage of City being vulnerable, because they do look vulnerable. They have got a bit of a, it's safe to say, a big injury list. Doku's not there. Grealish isn't there. Ake's Arsenal there at the moment. I think I've seen actually Ake is actually out for another
Bob,
month, so he's going to miss the
Oscar
Liverpool
Bob,
game as well.
yeah. Oscar Bob broke his leg, didn't he? As well.
Yeah,
A little
Yep.
while-
he was a good talent as well. Well, still will
Yeah.
be. Yeah, good talent. Like, but
Yeah, and you need those young players. I mean,
hmm.
we're seeing that at Arsenal a little bit now with one area coming through, and we wanted, honestly, Arsenal fans wanted one area to be that creative player, a young player, 17 years old, but he could have stepped in.
He
Where
looks great. Anytime he's came on the pitch, I think he's always got a good eye on him. He's always got like a good sense of where to pick up the pockets of space, and I think as well, against Inter Milan, I know it's a sort of a cliche to say Inter get the first goal, they go and defend the lead, which obviously they did.
Yeah.
But when Yannieri came on, he was always the one that was looking to have a pot of goal, have a shot of goal.
Yeah.
And I think as well, you've got to integrate him really, really well. So I think Arteta is doing a really good job in integrating him very, very well. But I was actually shocked to realise that apparently in December, 5 years Arteta has been at Arsenal. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this December will be 5 years. 2019.
5 years. 5 years. It doesn't even feel like 5 years to say the very, very least. But no, like I think the one thing if I was an Arsenal fan, I think the one thing I'd be wanting definitely is one of the trophies, a League Cup, FA Cup. Obviously the league is obviously the one you really want. Champions League is a bonus as well, but I think the one thing I think Arsenal fans want more than anything is just some type of silverware.
Yeah,
because I think you had a tendency last season to, and a couple of seasons as well, just to sort of not throw the cups away, but almost be like not really take any interest in the cup. Obviously, and I know we beat you in the FA Cup, but the League Cup I think is there to be won. It's quite open at the moment. You've got Palace in the next round. We've got Southampton. So potentially there's a potential of a Liverpool Arsenal final there. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I was just going to get to that. Our paths might cross swords in the Carabao Cup. You got Southampton away. I think you're going to play Southampton in quick fashion twice in a number of weeks.
Yep.
And generally, I mean, it's Liverpool and Southampton. You should beat them both times, but generally you could get mixed results when you play somebody twice like that. We've got Crystal Palace, and so both of us should get through to a semi-final and see. I don't know if the draw comes out. Then
I think they do another draw, don't they? Is it?
Yeah.
They redraw the semis as well.
You're going to have maybe I think Newcastle are in there and Man United are in there. So two other decent teams, but both of us should be the top two favorites, in the betting to do it. And of course, there's going to be two different storylines coming out of this. Mikel Arteta needing the trophy to keep the project moving, right? To keep everything. And Arne Slot in his first season needing to grab the trophy as well. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think
it's going to be interesting.
When I look at that though, right, I think I was watching a documentary on Ferguson not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago. And we know he took 5 years to win a trophy at Manchester United. Like it's and Klopp was there for 9 years. Obviously, the thing with that, everyone goes, "Oh yeah," but I think with me and Doug and most Liverpool fans know we've seen a gradual improvement year on year. Like we got top four, got Champions League final, then went consistently 3 Champions League finals in 3-4 years as well. But I think the most important thing for Arsenal, as I said before, not to panic, but in terms of as a collective fan base as well, as long as you can see the performance level. But I think it's all to do with the transfer window. And as a football club, you're playing London. Like it's so attractive as a London-based for any London-based club in comparison in regards to obviously, to bring in players. Obviously, if you can't go to Man United or Arsenal, Man United or Liverpool, or obviously Manchester City, then your main point of call for me, if I was a player, just I think a lot of players, especially a lot of South American players or football players in general, would love to go down to London for the obviously big wages as well, but certainly to play for a historic club like Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think the main thing it's going to come down to the owners, because I think the worst thing Arsenal could do is in the next 2-3 year period get rid of Arteta and then go 5 years backwards.
Yeah.
Unless there's a standout manager that is a previous winner of numerous league titles and other big leagues.
That's the tricky thing, because we've come so far.
It's better the devil you know, really, in it,
Yeah.
sometimes in terms of that. But
yeah, it's very difficult to know whether it's stick or twist, and that's where a lot of our supporters are right now. Could Arteta be that guy, or could he be a Brandon Rodgers who could only take you so far? It's very only history and the fullness of time will tell you. We'll go about another 5 more minutes, Doug and Jack, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Okay. Thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it. There was a couple of comments in here about world class. So I know it's a very difficult question, but I'm going to ask each of you, because somebody's saying Odegaard's not world class. And of course, Troy Deeney, I mean, he's the one I should have gotten on the podcast because he just knows everything about the classification of world class. But Doug, what would your classification of world class be? And it's to everybody, it's slightly different. So what would you call as being a world class player?
Wow.
You didn't prepare. I didn't prepare you for this one, Doug. But
I don't.
you can go. Jack can go if you want a second.
For me, being world class is someone who does it consistently over a number of years. So obviously Thierry Henry is obviously up there. I would Troy Deeney obviously doesn't think Mo Salah's up there. But even said Vinicius Junior. I mean, Vinicius Junior has only been in, there for what 2-3 years. Mo Salah's been at Liverpool almost 8 years now, and consistently, the numbers that he's getting is quite. So I would say, over a number of years, doing it consistently is where I would say the world class that is.
So it'd have to be like 4 or 5 years consistency.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the key word for me is, like, I agree with Doug in terms of consistency, but in terms of just dragging your team, like for many years, for the best part of like 15, 20 years, I watched Steven Gerrard, like the absolute dross to certain seasons he was surrounded by, and he was getting us he won us the Champions League final with that little header, and then captivated the whole final itself in that second half. And it's consistency, but I think in terms of stepping up, like you mentioned the young lad for Arsenal, Nuri is, apologies if it's not his name, but
17,
area. And you look at the lad of Barcelona as well, the winger that's just Yamal, you're either born with it as a footballer or you're not. And in terms of world class ability, some players like Van Dijk do turn up a bit later in the career. Some players that haven't really necessarily been given the opportunity. Not everyone's very privileged to be at the likes of City, Arsenal, Barcelona, Real Madrid. You can't always be at that club at the age of 19, 18, 20. But in terms of just standing up and stepping up for your team and dragging your team over the line if you possibly can. But yeah, it's just being there, dragging the team, being consistent as well. I do find it baffling. I know you do rate Salah, Ray, and a lot of Arsenal fans do, but they just certain rival fans that just look over Salah. It's mad. Like they don't like, and they're trying to debate him and Hazard, mate. Like Hazard, what? Are you mad? Like it's just
like I said.
Don't get me on a spiel because I'll be here for the ready for this. Bro.
I can't give any player a great compliment than saying if they turn up against Arsenal, you almost feel they're going to score a goal. You know what I mean? They've got a 95% chance of scoring, and Mo Salah's got a 95% chance of scoring against Arsenal each and every time he lines up against us.
Him and De Bruyne have been exceptional over the last 10 years, I'd say, in the Premier League.
Yeah. What would you say, Jack, about Bukayo Saka then? He's not there yet. He's got to keep demonstrating that. And I think he's missed Ben White, and just that, when injuries happen, he's missed that support on the right hand side. So now you see players double teaming him, but because Saka just needs to keep doing what he's doing. He's gonna. I'd like to see him playing more centrally and turn up a little bit in the penalty box rather than staying. You think of Bukayo Saka, he's almost on where the edge of the box is. He's always on that corner of the box.
Yeah, sorry there, mate. I was just checking how old Saka was. He's still only 23. Like, he's just turned 23.
It's mad.
Like, I'm just looking at his in terms of statistics, in terms of Premier League statistics.
He's gotten better each and every season.
Yeah,
now.
like even like say 4 years ago when he was like 18, 19, he got 11 goals, 7 assists in 38 games. Then the following season, 14 goals, 11 assists, and then 16 goals, 9 assists last season as
I
well.
was
And then he's
hoping. Yeah, I wanted him to push for the 20s. I don't know if he's going to get 20 goals. I think this season he's been assisting more than actually scoring, and that's probably a symptom of a transition to more of the set piece play.
Yeah, he's still only 23 though, mate. I think a lot of fans do kind of forget how young he is still as a footballer.
Right.
Like, we have this debate, me and Doug, on countless occasions in terms of when we do our shows as well. Curtis Jones, I think everyone expects Curtis Jones to score a hat-trick every single week. I get this season might be his step out here. Like,
well, isn't it crazy? Isn't that crazy that the more talented you are, the more people want from you?
Yeah.
They don't accept at the end of the day, these people are human beings as well. But they've got families and they've got other concerns now. Probably the club is taking care of a lot of that stuff for them as well. Don't worry about your mortgage. We'll pay it for it.
I think we'd love to be a professional footballer for a week. We'd be sound, wouldn't we? Especially
or
on
they
Saturday.
just say, I need 50 tickets from my mates next week. All right, sorted. You go train. We'll take care of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think quickly on that to conclude there. Sorry, it is just if you can get a world class striker, but I think in terms of Saka, just keep his head down, keep on working as well. Yeah, at a football club. I think obviously we'll get the. Well, is Odegaard captain anyway? But I think he's probably vice.
Odegaard is the club captain, yes.
Yeah, so
and we've missed him.
Yeah, I think for Saka, keep on doing what he's been doing. But I think it's an onus, as I said before, when I come on, mate, is up to the club in terms of bringing more world-class footballers into the football club. Saka deserves it. Gabriel, and especially keeping hold of Saliba and Odegaard. That's how you keep your top talent, really, is going out there and spending big. Not necessarily always, because there is some gems out there, but if you can go out there and sign an established star like Gyökeres at Sporting, I don't think he needs to do it to his career if he goes to United. I know he's got his manager, but surely if Arsenal and Man United,
that's a tough one. That would be a tough one for the player, and we don't know where the player's head is at. Does he want to follow the manager who he trusts and believes in, or does he want to go to what looks like a better project at the end of the day?
Osimhen as well. Like there's strikers out there, like Isaac we mentioned. There is top class strikers out there, but it's
so what we're going to get into, and Doug said January window, Liverpool don't really do much, and maybe Arsenal. We've picked up a couple of players in the January window, but is there any word out there for Liverpool fans? Who might you pick up in January, if anyone? Rafinha is another one that's been mentioned for Arsenal, and Mikel Arteta's been here in the States to talk to the owners in recent days. So probably with a view to January if results don't pick up.
The only one I've seen being linked today was the Bournemouth left back, Kirkhouse. I've seen him being mentioned. Obviously, Szoboszlai's probably had a wee word with them because obviously they were on international duty.
And we got the Bournemouth Sporting Director, haven't we? So
we do.
You've mentioned also Aït-Nouri. He's a very, very good player.
I love him as a player. Yeah, he's a
fantastic player.
Been a lot of talk about him maybe going to Liverpool. You can see with Tsimikas and Robertson that you do need a switch up there. You know what I mean? Maybe. right?
I like
Um,
the is the lad at Fulham as well, Robinson.
Robinson.
Obviously, I think if you're a club like Arsenal,
Yeah.
I think I'd be going all out for him. Really, he's like 26, 27, so he's at the prime years to go into a club and really establish
Yeah.
himself. But I'd agree with Doug. I think it's only the left back, but I'd like to see Liverpool go out and
But you
get
sort of
a.
look at your team and you look at what could be problem areas in a season or two from now. And left back is a situation. Hopefully, Arsenal are starting to lock down now, but Liverpool maybe where Robertson needed. BX Gunner said Rafinha, but he's not leaving Barca now. He's the main star. You never know with Barcelona. I know that their season has picked up, but they have continual financial issues, right? That's the way Real Madrid have separated from Barcelona a little bit in that respect that they are, they're always in the Champions League, so they're always going to have that revenue coming in. They're always most likely winning the Champions League as well. So yeah, listen, Jack and Doug, thanks for joining today. I think we'll cross swords again at Anfield toward the end of the season.
100% nice.
Hopefully, the gap has come down to where it's a meaningful game for me. For you, you want to do a 19-20 and just like sail off over the horizon and into the distance, right? Because that's really what happened, Doug. It's not. I saw you tweeting, and I want to say it as well. It's not the lockdown was not the reason why Liverpool won the league. It was done and dusted by the time the lockdown came down as well.
Yeah.
Just want to get that on record as well. And I think Liverpool can chase, but I think you're better leading as well. I think you have the mentality of just like 3 points after 3 points after 3 points. So I'm hoping the brakes are applied a little bit to you by the new year. So it doesn't get to 10 or 11 points, and then Arsenal, we have to look at other things like the League Cup where we might cross swords as well. Maybe a final would be nice as well, and a follow-up preview podcast would be good as well. Maybe I can book you in January or February. Other than that, the Champions League, we should be there or thereabouts as well. And FA Cup, you never know in the FA Cup as well. So
Anything's possible in knockout football, mate. Especially Champions League. Like me and Doug know, and like, it's funny because the year we won the Champions League with Klopp, I think we got beaten in all of our away games, didn't we, Doug? And certainly the Red Star battered us. The Napoli save as well last minute. Small margins. And sometimes it does come down to a bit of luck as well. You need that in football.
Yeah, I think we're all struggling with this. Maybe not struggling, but it's a new format, in the league situation. I always like the fact in the groups where if you lose a game, you have that revenge game coming back. You have a chance to get at them again, but that's not the situation. Anyway, I won't say best of luck to you for the rest of the season, but I'll say ta-ra for now, right?
Yeah. See you soon.
All right. Thanks, Doug, for your time. Jack, thanks for dropping on as well. All right.
Cheers, mate. See you later, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good night.
Take care, everyone. Slap a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here. Thanks, everybody.